My Lords, the question posed by the noble Lord Kerr of Kinlochard and then repeated by my noble friend Lord Moylan hangs in the air of your Lordship's chamber, brooding and unanswered. What is the justification for having a permanent open-ended commitment to subsidise domestic production? We've heard a perfectly reasonable case that we need lots of steel and we need security of supply, and I agree with that. But the way to have security of supply, whether of steel or of anything else, is to source it from the widest possible variety of sources so that you are not subject to a localised shock or disruption which might as easily happen on your own territory as anywhere else. And that's exactly where we are with steel. There is no foreign country that accounts for more than 15% of our total imports. Not our total use, our total imports. It's an extremely comfortable position. There is a very widespread view, I think, outside this chamber that we're somehow dependent on China or on other unfriendly autocracies. We heard it from Baroness Drake a moment ago. But actually, who are the countries that are our chief suppliers? The first is Germany, the second is Spain, the third is the Netherlands, the fourth is Belgium. Before you get to China, you'd still have to get to, if in some bizarre world we were blockaded by the EU, we would still be able to import from Algeria, from Turkey, from Vietnam, from South Korea, before we get to China, which accounts for only 7% of our imports. I think we need to be realistic about the numbers. And if, for whatever reason, we decide that despite that we must have, at whatever cost, some kind of domestic production capacity, then the easiest way of ensuring that is to make our industries competitive by no longer imposing on them the most expensive energy costs in the developed world. We seem to have forgotten that actions have consequences. We pass resolutions and laws, we make decisions that make us feel warm and comfortable about net zero or about closing down the coking coal mine in Cumbria or not allowing it to be opened, and then we wonder at the consequences. But if we do want to have a domestic steel capacity, the way of doing it is not to burden the producers and indeed our taxpayers with the costs of this policy, and to be honest about the realism of deferring it. Let me close by saying that we are again about to take a decision that will have consequences. And the consequence here is going to be a repeat of a policy that has never, ever worked, which is nationalisation of steel, which fails every time. It's like that scene of Homer Simpson constantly trying to grab his beer can from some electric wires and electrocuting himself each time and going back to it. In 1949, in 1967, it led to disinvestment, to maladministration. It led to political rather than economic decisions. It led, in the end, not only to the failure of the industry, but left taxpayers on the hook, as it will this time, to the tune of £700,000 a day in this case. The dog returns to his vomit, and the sow returns to her mire, and the burnt fool's bandaged finger goes wobbling back to the fire. Yeah.